Okay, good evening, and welcome to the Blueprint Podcast, where we talk about careers, confidence, and culture, the lessons about life, work, and confidence that you were never taught. This is a conversation driven show exploring the real lessons people learn on their journey through life and work, the ones rarely taught in the classroom or in any training manuals. I am Regina Lynette Brown, aka Professor Peachy, and I am your host for today. Today, we're going to talk about women shaping tomorrow, and we are featuring none other than Miss Cecilia Leung. We call her Cece. Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
No problem. Let's get this conversation started. So, for the listeners meeting you for the first time, please introduce yourself and share a little about her story and tell us what you do.
Yeah, so I'm the founder of Rich and Sassy Wealth Strategies. And I was originally born and raised in Hong Kong. I moved to Canada when I was 16. And then I moved to New York City when I was 26. So I've been here for 20 plus years now. So I've worked all over the world,
Hmm.
in the corporate world. And since COVID, I've finally transition to a full-time entrepreneur. I mean,
Oh,
all these,
cool.
yeah, I mean, all these corporate years, I've always had a side hustle, but it's
Mm-hmm.
almost like, during COVID, it was just the right time, and I pivoted to become an entrepreneur. It was like the best decision ever, and
Mm-hmm.
obviously learned a lot about myself. And
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I just started a new firm, like closed my old firm and started a new firm. It's like I've having so much fun.
That's good. I didn't realize that you were an entrepreneur full time.
Mhm.
Congratulations. Because I
Thank you.
believe we met before COVID
Yes.
when you published the book on accountants.
Right.
What's the name of it?
Dear accountant.
Dear Accountant.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh my God. It felt like just yesterday. It's been like 6 years.
Oh wow, it's been that long. Yeah, because you just published it when we met.
Right.
That's cool. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And I think didn't you just publish something else? Did I see that on LinkedIn?
Oh, that was to announce my new firm in January.
Oh,
So that's
gotcha.
yeah, so I had my old firm for 4 years, the entrepreneur CFO, and
Okay.
I closed the firm last year, which we're going to talk probably, talked about a little bit in our
Mm-hmm.
conversation today. And then this year, yeah, I made an announcement, a public announcement in January to started this new firm, Rich and Sassy Wealth Strategies.
Okay. And I for whatever reason, I thought it was another book.
Which probably comes with another book too.
It
Yeah. Well,
probably does come with another book.
I
I
know.
can see that.
Yeah, no, I've already started drafting. Actually, I had a draft, but then last year was such a pivotal, crazy year. Yeah, it has to be a book.
It
I
has to
think.
be. Because when I looked at it, that's what it looked like to me. I was like, oh, she done wrote a new book. Let me pin this
Yeah.
down. That is cool. So
Mhm.
some sidebar to what you already shared. How did you end up in your career or along this path? And what did you think your life or career was going to look like when you were younger? Did you think you would be here having been born in Hong Kong?
Never. Like, so I was born in a very humble, traditional family. So
Mm-hmm.
none of them came from business. And
Mm-hmm.
we were always taught to be, stick in the safe path. So my parents, so my dad was a teacher and my mom was a nurse. So
Okay.
actually, yeah, actually a very noble career. I was just thinking
Mm-hmm.
about it today, like people who are in the medical field who take care of patients every day, right? Like teach
Right.
to educate. Like I think being a teacher is such a noble career. You actually,
Right.
little things, you encourage your student, you inspire your student, it literally changed their life.
Mm-hmm.
So, but my parents always told me I should get into business because that's where you actually make real money. So, okay, well, I was terrible at math, but had to choose a more practical field
Mm-hmm.
to be in.
Mm-hmm.
So I was actually trained myself to be very good in accounting and finance.
Oh, good.
Yeah, because I was also an immigrant. So at the time, like I was just terrible in English. So I was like, all
Okay.
right, I need to pick a language. And Warren Buffett said, accounting is the
Mm-hmm.
language of business. So I was like, all right, let's do that. So,
That was good.
right, at least open the door to business.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how I got into accounting, become CPA, and then went into all the big firm investment bank, and that's how I started. And
Okay.
again, I all these years I felt like I was just gonna, climb up the corporate ladder because
Mm-hmm.
that's what we were taught in school. You're gonna do this big firm, you rise up to the partner, blah blah blah, right? So that's what I
Right.
thought I was aiming towards. And then of course, like during during my career, like there's always people ask me to do stuff, which I was so excited about. They're asking
Mm-hmm.
because people started business and all that, they're always asking me for ideas because I'm CPA. So they asked me about doing all this analysis and all that stuff. So I was like, oh, that's really fun. So I actually had a side hustle all these
Right.
years. It actually,
Right.
like so fun. And then COVID hit, and then a lot of things change, obviously, right? The
Mm-hmm.
work from home situation, and then the economy and all that. And then people, like, I just heard so many people tell me, well, that's you should just, start your own company, like transition full time. And of course, when I hear that, it's like, like part of me was like, yeah, part of me knew that it was the right time. But then
Mm-hmm.
part of me also didn't want to let go of that safety net, right? For almost 20
Yes.
years. Like I want
Yes.
that stable paycheck.
Right.
Uh,
We all do.
Right, but then like part of me was also seriously kind of bored. Like I was
Right.
bored. Like I wanted to do something more creative, which I've been
Mm-hmm.
doing. So it's just kind of like this thing, all right, pick your poison. Uh kind of, well, not poison, but you know what I mean?
I
Like
do know what you mean.
stick with the same path and feel kind of
Right.
bored, not completely fulfilled, or go
Mm-hmm.
on this adventure, but a little terrified, but free, but like whatever. So anyway,
Right.
yeah, of course, like we now know what I've chosen, and it's
Right.
the best decision ever. But even I said that, like, oh my God, there's so much challenges and craziness that got me here today. But I'm so happy.
That's good. I'm glad you stepped out into the unknown to see what was waiting for you. That's really cool. That's also encouraging.
Yeah.
So, what advice would you give someone who's starting out in their career? And perhaps, because a lot of students that, I know, I'm going to start my own thing. It's like, oh, okay, you got it all planned. Well, yeah. And some really do, and some just have ideas.
Mhm.
So, for someone like that, or even not having any experience in it, what advice would you give them?
Well, yeah, I know, I hear a lot of people is like, oh, you have to enjoy what you do, take
Mm,
passion and all that, right? Like, I mean, I
mm-hmm.
came from a very traditional Asian family. We're all about, being practical. And there's nothing
Okay.
wrong with that. I
Right.
feel like, like I said, like I was never good at math. I was terrible. Like I would never
Mm-hmm.
like accounting, right? But then it was such a really important skills. And I feel like the foundation is so important.
Mm-hmm.
So, when I first started in the Big Four, I was like, oh my God, especially back in 20 something years ago, the work is not as fancy as today because today we have
That's
AI,
true.
right? Back
That's
then,
true.
what do I do? Like you went on an audit, like you go
Right. Pen and
spend,
paper.
yeah, paper, like tons of paper. And I was doing an
Right.
IPO, right? Yeah, IPO audit. So I was in like these factories with dusty paper boxes, looking at invoices. What?
Right.
Right?
Yeah. Right.
In hindsight, those are so important though, because
They were.
right? Because now
Mm-hmm.
you know what you're looking at, like where the
Mm-hmm.
number comes from. You don't take anything for granted. Like you
Mm-hmm.
just know, like you're able to connect everything. So I feel like, the way I think about accountings and learning numbers is often like kind of, how people learn kung fu in all the Shaolin temple, right? People
Right.
like people already want to fight, but then you can, right? You have to go like, the first couple of years is always boring. You kind of
Mm-hmm.
like do all these like slow move because you have to have a calm mind and all the people are like, what the heck, right? It's like so boring. I want to fight already. So, but then, but once you get to fight, you realize, oh my God, you actually have to take all these different foundational stuff in order to be good at it.
I love
So,
it.
yeah, so I feel like, like I would advise people to find something that, like you're willing to take time to learn and be good at.
Mm.
Like you might not learn to love it at the beginning, but like I said, like
Mm-hmm.
right now, I love accounting, I love numbers. I can do it all day long, do it in my dreams, right? and that you can see more things because of those boring years that
Right, right,
I
right,
endure. But
right.
it was so helpful. Yeah.
That's good. That's really good. Yeah, it's important to slow down at first and take it all in because I think today, because everything is so
Mhm.
quick. I mean, the way we fix food is quick. The way we get somewhere is quick because everything is speedy. And so I don't think we take enough time to allow things to absorb so that we
Mhm.
can really figure out, is there fun in it? And if it is, how do we get the fun out?
Yeah.
So that's really good advice. Thank you. So, when you hear the phrase women shaping tomorrow, what does that mean to you? What comes to mind right now?
Um, I I feel like I feel like to me, women shaping tomorrow means knowing who you are,
That's
ability
good.
to make a real difference. We don't have to be more, be different, be whoever you are right this second is enough.
Hmm.
Because I
Hmm.
feel like, for the longest time, especially to women, we were told that, well, if you want to succeed, act more like a man, be more aggressive, be tougher, be louder, chase the
Hmm.
ball, hit the numbers, everything, move to the next things. And I felt like, we did all of that, like including myself. A lot of people did that, right?
Right.
But I feel like what got lost in the message or the qualities is what women naturally
Hmm.
bring to the table, which is, we're nurturing like the
Hmm.
empathy, the ability to hold people together
Hmm.
while still moving things forward, and
Hmm.
the ability to see the human being in front of you, not just the transaction.
Right.
So I feel like, like in this world, especially in business, has been so obsessed with goals, metrics, targets, and we really forgotten how to actually be human in the process.
Hmm.
And and like I said, like I say, women, we are the keepers of all of that, like at home or in families, in communities. And we're just now bringing into the boardrooms and business. And it's not a small thing. That's actually what's been
Mm.
missing.
It is. It's a big thing. I
Mhm.
agree. Been missing for a long time.
I know, and I just want women to know that like they can be their whole self, like like you don't
Hmm.
have to choose. You can be ambitious and caring, you can be powerful and warm, you can have a career and also honor your role in your family and community.
Hmm.
So those things were never in conflict. We can actually be all of it and own it, and that's how you shape tomorrow.
That's cool. Owning who we really are. I love it.
Yeah.
So, whose influence helped shape the woman you are today?
Hmm. I say, um, I say my grandmother, my
Mm.
mother, and my father, all three of them.
Okay.
So I'm 45 now. So about
Okay.
30 years ago, so my parents were roughly my age,
Hmm.
and they decided to bring our whole family from Hong Kong to Canada.
Okay.
And so I'll be honest, like all these years, I understand the sacrifice, but
Hmm.
only now standing at this age myself, do I really understand what that took.
Hmm.
Because like you've asked me to bring my whole family now to move to an entire new country to, to start all over,
Right.
like freaking
Right.
out, it was a lot. But at the
Right.
time, when I was 16, I couldn't quite fully appreciate it.
Right.
But they weren't perfect. I mean, nobody was. Like, I mean, it was really hard.
Hmm.
It was messy. They fought all the time, honestly.
Right.
But they still showed up every single day and built
Hmm.
something from nothing, like new country, new culture, new language.
Hmm.
So that discipline and resilience really got into my bones just watching them.
Hmm.
And I didn't even realize it was happening. And so everything I'm building today, my firm, my foundation that I'm
Hmm.
creating is in their
Hmm.
honor, it's because of them. They did the hard things, so I could do bigger things. So that's
That's
important to me.
awesome. Hmm.
Yeah, it's something that, like that I carry with me every day. So I always wanted to tell young people that, know where you come from, like really know it. It's not a baggage,
Hmm.
it's actually an honor, is fuel, and let that be your inspiration every day.
I love it. Let the fuel
Mm,
of your existence
exactly.
propel you forward. I'm loving it. Loving it. What skill or mindset will matter most for women shaping the future?
Yeah. I talk about accounting, knowing numbers. So like first thing comes to mind is like technical skills matters, and I mean really
Okay.
matters.
Hmm.
So like I said, I was terrible at math and my English was terrible. So I just want to found like, find something that I was good at just so I can, make a living really at that
Hmm.
age, right? But
Hmm.
once you have that technical skills, I think it opened up so many things. But of course, like it's funny because like I remember telling someone, well, accounting is the language of business. And someone was like, no, it's not. Relationships are. And so I was
Ah,
like, well,
mm,
yeah. So I was like, well, honestly, they're not wrong, but they're not completely right either.
right.
Right? I feel like
Hmm.
relationships get you in the room and
Right.
first keeps you in the room.
Hmm.
Because if you don't understand the financial side of what you're building, you'll always be depending on someone else to tell you what it's worth.
Yep.
And that's really dangerous, especially for women.
Hmm.
And also, here's another thing. Some people are so by the books, so, like know numbers like inside and out, but numbers are dead on their own. Like what makes
Mm,
a person valuable is your
mm.
ability to make them come alive, right? To
That's
question,
good.
right? To question,
Hmm.
to analyze, to tell the story behind the
Mm,
data. So I
mm,
feel like that expertise, like I mentioned before, right, built over time, give you so much confidence that nobody can take from you. But of course, I think the other side of it, aside from technical skills, like I think it's also very important to know your worth
mm.
because let's be honest, the war will make you feel like you're not enough. And
Right.
I'll be honest, like that's not an accident because the system were built
Mm,
by people who benefit from you doubting
mm.
yourself.
Yep. And
But
not knowing your worth. Yep.
right, but a woman who knows her worth is harder to underpay, overlook, or control.
That's true.
So, right, so we need to do that for ourselves, like build your
Hmm.
skills, build that inner anchor. We need both.
Mm. I love it. I love it. You are so right. That is so timely for today when we're doing more. We're stepping out, activating our faith to step into roles that were never designed for us. So I love it. I love it. I love it. How do you balance confidence and collaboration in leadership spaces?
I love this question. Like what I've learned all these years is that like real confidence, it was never loud. And it doesn't
Mm,
need to be. Like usually
hmm.
you hear these people, especially, those in sales or the big personality, you feel like, oh my God, they're so confident and they're so loud, right? But
Right.
usually the loudest person seems to be often the most insecure one because
I
they're
get it.
fighting, right? Because they're fighting to be heard, and deep down they know they're not sure if they
Mm,
even belong there. So they kind of need to be recognized and validated,
hmm. Hmm.
right? But then I think,
That's real.
yeah, and I feel like real confidence is very subtle. It
Mm,
comes from truly knowing who you are and what you bring to the table.
hmm.
And if you have that, when you have that, like you don't need to dominate the room. You can just you actually can afford to slow down and pay attention and listen because you're not
Mm.
threatened. And
That part. I love it. Go
yeah,
ahead.
and right, and then we've seen all these collaborative leaders everywhere, like
Hmm.
people that we work with. Usually I've worked with people like incredible people all over the world, and they're usually the most kind and secure, and they genuinely care about people and they get things done. And that's not
Hmm.
a coincidence.
Hmm.
So yeah, so I feel like, like for me, the balance come from clarity, like knowing who you are, your role, what you bring to the table,
Hmm.
and just also genuinely appreciate what other people bring, not pretend, you know, like not pretending it, but actually means it. And so I think the mutual appreciation is important.
Hmm.
And when you have that, you don't have to, prove yourself. You stop all these ego fighting. You stop needing to be the smarter person in the room. And
Right.
right, so after, like, if we can truly accept everybody in ourselves, and I feel like that's when the magic happens, because then your
Yes.
energy don't goes to all these ego fighting. Oh my God, so exhausting. Uh, right?
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, it's like wasted energy.
So much. Yeah.
When
And
if we just bring it together, we can collaborate and actually accomplish more.
yeah, and I feel like, all these years, especially as a woman, I feel like when I was younger, like I make myself small or put other people on pedestal to
Hmm.
collaborate.
Hmm.
But I feel like you don't have to push people aside to lead. Like you can be both. Like
Hmm.
I feel like, when you can do that, embrace everything, yourself, other people, that's actually the most powerful version of leadership is.
I love it.
Yeah. Oh, and then one more thing. I
Hmm.
feel like honestly, if you feel like you have to be loud and fight just to be heard, you're probably in the wrong room. Yeah.
That is so true. Because if you're constantly in that mode, then yeah, it might not be the right space for you. That's a good self check.
Oh my God. Yeah, so many times. I'm like, right? You feel so wrong. And
You
if you like
do.
you want to adapt, you want to justify, but no, probably the wrong room. Yeah. Lead.
And it's okay to recognize you're in the wrong room because sometimes I find that some of the students know they're in the wrong place, but then they're kind of afraid to own that, right? And act on it. And, for whatever reason, it could be their first position, it could be, what else am I going to do? How do I explain getting out of this? But if you're in the wrong room, you're just in the wrong room.
It's so hard though, right? Especially for young people. I remember like I probably had that thought like
Hmm.
a million times and I just thought maybe this, right? Maybe it's just a one time. Maybe it's not really that, right? Can I do that? Like what, Until
Yeah,
you
you
then
justify it.
yeah, then you find the right room, you're like, oh my God, life can be so much better. This is my people.
Right, 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 right. And it could be the same thing. It could be accounting, it could be marketing, it could be whatever. Same thing, different room.
Exactly.
It'll
Yeah.
change the game. That is so true.
Yeah.
And yeah, I get it. So can you share a real moment where this showed up for you in your life, where you felt like you were in the wrong room, if that were your story?
Oh my God. Yeah, I'm like so many of those stories. I felt like most of my career, like I was making myself small because
Mm,
in our cultural upbringing, like, I didn't even realize I was doing it.
mm-hmm.
Because in our cultural upbringing, I never wanted the spotlight, nor do I need it. I just wanted to do good work, right?
Right, right, right.
But I think part of it was also being a woman in a room of full of, in the big firms usually, especially, so many big personalities and big egos. And so I was
Mm-hmm.
like, all right, like I just want like I prefer to stay quiet, stay humble, not take up
Right.
much space because it felt like the right thing to do. And honestly, it felt safer. I mean,
Mm,
no one asked me my opinion. I didn't want any trouble. I just wanted to be here, do good work. That's what I thought for many, many years.
mm-hmm.
But then I realized what happened is I felt I was safe, right? I thought I was not competing with other people, but
Mm,
I felt that, I learned it the hard way. So what happened was when you make yourself small, you
mm-hmm.
actually attract people who are very comfortable with you being small.
Right, right, right.
Yeah, and so I spent 2 decades in the corporate world learning all these really hard lessons the hard way.
Mm-hmm.
Betrayals, people take my work, take
Mm,
credit for my work, and then being taken advantage of, being overlooked. And every
mm,
single time I was like, it was happening, every single time I thought it was happening to me
mm-hmm.
until I finally woke up and I realized I was allowing it.
Mm,
So, I mean, I never really blamed the world, I just didn't understand why I wasn't happy or feeling good and couldn't
mm-hmm.
find my place despite I was working really, really hard.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I feel like, when I finally fully took responsibility and look at myself in my life and understand what shape me and my behavior, so
Mm-hmm.
that was the moment everything changed.
Mm,
I felt, like, so I think it's really important. I know it's so easy to say, but I feel like it really took a lot of self-reflection to start, being
mm,
yourself, knowing your worth. And also
mm-hmm.
I feel like what's important is to surround yourself with people who really love you, who reflect back to you who you are, you know,
Right.
like not just your insecurities, but also your strength. And also
Mm.
with the same with clients, like who I now choose client who genuinely value what I bring and
Right.
not just transactional. So I feel like, my whole world changed. And I really want young people to know that, a lot of times and I was in that position once. I just felt like, why is everything not going my way? I was working so hard. I was trying so hard. But I feel like nothing around you change until you change. But that's
Mm.
the real moment, right? That's the real work.
That's good. I'm taking notes, girl. This one's for me. I get it. I can't say that I felt small.
Mhm.
I'm just I'm an observer. So I am quiet. And I feel like some of the years, some of the roles, even in education, that my being quiet has been taken as a weakness. And then I've been copied and duplicated and all that kind of stuff. And then you'll hear, even if I say something, oh, it's a compliment. It is to an extent. It's like, where do we draw the line where there's no recognition for me who was the forerunner, right?
Yeah,
And so I am still in that space of learning how to I guess speak maybe to the right person, right? Or
yeah,
even just recognize, oh, do I need to make some change? And so I've been making small changes in that way. But
yeah.
it shows up, and it shows up like before you even believe it, you're like, did they just say, just tell y'all? I know I wrote that. Didn't I write that? It's like you start questioning yourself.
I know. But I feel like, I feel like women has such a strong intuition.
Mm-hmm.
We sometimes intellectually, like, of course we question ourselves, kind of like what you just said, right? But then I think we feel it in our body,
Mm-hmm.
like
You
it's
do.
like, yeah, like we actually know. So I feel like maybe trust our own first instinct of it.
Yes.
Like, I mean, don't obviously like don't like recklessly act on it, but like
Right.
take notes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we are a little more intuitive, and a lot of that probably comes with being a nurturer.
Hmm.
Whether you have children or not, it's just ingrained, right? And so I think when we do take the time to reflect and we hear, you feel the energy. I mean, you can't, unless you're just closing yourself off completely,
Yeah.
you can feel what's going on in the room. So you're absolutely right. This
Yeah.
is this is dynamite. I hope y'all listening. Okay. What barrier or belief did you have to overcome to step fully into your purpose, or have you stepped into your purpose?
Yeah, I think one of the belief is that like I had to earn my place
Mm,
by being more. So more qualified, more prepared, more like everything
hmm.
than anybody else in the room.
I believe that too.
Right. It's like a trap. Like
It is a trap.
it is a lot of trap like that, especially for high achieving women, falling.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, because you felt that, especially like for me, I grew up as immigrants. I felt like, I felt that like I learned that early that I had to work twice as hard as
Hmm.
just, work twice as hard just to be seen.
Hmm.
And it's crazy. Like I hate to admit, but even now with like, like over 20 plus years of like global experience, many titles like after my name, I still sometimes feel
Hmm.
like I need more, like more
Hmm.
credentials, more proof, more
Hmm.
permission. I
I
mean,
hear it. I hear it all the time that we do.
mm,
You either need more, or how it's been kind of coined from a ethnicity standpoint, being a black woman,
mm,
is we frame it as they move the carrot. As soon as we get to, you say we need A, then we get A, then you move it to B, then we get B, you move it to C, and so it's like a constant chase of having to change or evolve yourself to get to what and we
yeah.
still don't ever, I don't think, quite get to um whatever it is, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I've been asking myself this question. Like I said, like I feel like I'm a grown woman. I should know all that. But oh my God, it's not. I feel like that drive is a gift.
Mm-hmm.
But then the truth is, like, nobody can know everything or be expert in everything.
That's true.
Right? So at some point, you just
Mm-hmm.
have to trust yourself, trust your ability to figure it out. And that ability is actually very, very valuable than
Mm-hmm.
any of more credentials and letters after your name and all that, right?
Yes.
So and even now with like building business, right? Sometimes I'm like, well, I haven't, like, I'm thinking to myself, well, I haven't built what I could build before and whatever. So I need some more proof, right? But
Mm-hmm.
then I feel like someone told me, or I kind of figured it myself, it's like, what proof are we talking about? Like, I am the proof. Like, I've done all these, right? And I've done these
Yes.
things all these years. Just look back at what I've done. And I think
Right.
the same for anybody, you know? Like I feel like anybody, young women, or it doesn't matter at what stage, like we just needs to recognize our progress.
Mm-hmm.
Like, right? Not to compare to anyone, but compare to yourself yesterday.
Right.
And
Right.
obviously, like not like everybody get a trophy kind of way, but because I do believe life is competitive, we should compete to win. But
Mm-hmm.
then like just not so focused on the finish line, just so you stop noticing, oh my God, how much ground you've already covered, how much,
Mm-hmm.
you've come so far. So I feel like it's so important to celebrate that, like, recognize the growth.
Mm-hmm. I agree. I think we don't celebrate our own milestones. It's
Right.
like we're waiting for somebody to say, "Oh, that was good." When you can just go, "Girl, you did that."
Yeah. Yeah. And then it's like nothing is ever big enough, right? Like,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, because we think about it, right? I feel like when you're in high school, then you're waiting to go to college. Once you get to college, right, then you graduated. Then where's your first job? And then your first job, and where's your promotion? And your promotion, then it's like just never ending.
It's it is ongoing,
Yeah.
continuous.
Yeah.
So we do have to step back and appreciate, and then decide. I think for ourselves, okay, I'm not done learning, but I'm done chasing. Right, I'm going to live in this space, and whatever else is added or I choose to add, I'm just choosing to add for whatever reason.
Yeah. Like honestly, at any point, obviously we can be more, but I mean it's almost like, we're enough at any point in time that we looked at ourselves.
True, we are enough. I love it. Can you share a moment when a challenge positioned you for growth or redirection?
Yeah, so that came back like that uh that's the story I was telling earlier about like the first company I built uh
Hmm.
after I left the corporate world.
Okay.
So I eventually built a very successful seven-figure firm.
Hmm.
So when people looked at it, we have all the metrics to show. So by external measures, it was a great success, but I was miserable. I
Hmm.
was burned out, I was exhausted, I was carrying everything. And
Hmm.
people kept telling me, well, that's just what it takes, sacrifice. That's the
Hmm.
price of success. That's just how it is, right? And
Hmm.
I, of course, believed them for a very long time. And eventually I realized, well, that's not true. Like,
Hmm.
so then I kind of look into myself and then look into everything. And the problem wasn't the business. The
Hmm.
problem was I was surrounded by all the wrong people and the wrong clients.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, and I didn't realize that because, like I said, I was just chasing like what other people expected of me. Like I said, if
Hmm.
you look on paper, everything's perfect.
Right.
And it's almost like so shameful to tell people, well, I am miserable. People would be like, are you kidding me, right? And so, but what happened was like people just drained me. If you're surrounded
Yes.
by the wrong people, wrong team, wrong clients, oh my God, they just drained you.
Yes.
Yeah, and
Yes.
and instead of it, like I said, like if you can find the other side, actually surround with the right people, oh my God, they energize you so much. You can talk to them all day long.
Yep. I
Yeah,
totally agree.
yeah. So then I was like,
Hmm.
but then the thing is, when especially I feel like I found that, like, especially the first time building business, it's almost like, well, I'm not gonna lie, like I feel like even after 20 plus years of very successful corporate career, when I left, and I didn't know that, right? Of course, people asked me, like I wouldn't admit it at the time, but like I did have something to prove. I wanted to
Hmm.
prove that I could make it.
Right.
So, so I was just like very focused on building because I think I had to prove it to myself that like
Mm-hmm.
that was the right choice. So
Right.
I almost just, yeah, I was so willing to like sacrifice a lot of things, but then it kind of gets you to a point where you're exhausted and just be, it just kind of forces you to stop and ask like, okay, is this actually what you want? Is this
Mm-hmm.
actually who you are? But the most important thing is I was, like I said, surrounded by all the wrong people and wrong kind. It just drained me.
Mm-hmm.
So I just finally like did the most scary thing, made the best decision, which is I walked away. I shut it down.
Right.
I shut
Right.
myself. Yeah. So I feel like,
It's
yeah.
good.
No, go ahead.
You feel like what?
No, I feel like that was the best decision. And
Mm-hmm.
after that, I did the most important work in my life, which is, to look at myself, self-reflection.
Oh, good. Mm-hmm.
Like not in other business strategies, not all the other like, optimization, like productivity, none of that, right? Not in other
Right, right.
information. I feel like that's you know, but
You
what
didn't need to do a return on investment.
I know. So I feel like the self-reflection thing, we should do it often, right? Like,
We
but then
should.
when you're building, like you really just like it's so easy to just keep going because like you just don't have time to think about all these things, which is the most important work of all work,
Mm-hmm.
right? Asking yourself the hard question, like, who are you? What do you actually want? Like, what shapes you? Because I feel like, I wasn't like I was asking myself those questions, but the answer was actually coming from the lens of like other people or society, what they
Mm,
expect of me. It's kind of like these ideas almost ingrained in my mind. So I wasn't really answering from my own heart, and nor did
mm-hmm.
I have that space to think like that because I was like, like making all this money. Like, what are you
Mm-hmm.
talking about, really? Like, this is wrong.
Right, right. But people will make you feel that way though too. Like, what's wrong with you? But you have it all. And you're like, I do? Okay. Let me keep going.
I know. And I just feel like, it's so important. Like we talk about like identity, values, what actually matter to a person. I mean, I've been thinking about it, when I was in the corporate world. I was thinking about it the past 5 years when I was building my company. I thought I have all the answers, but it just felt not exactly mine, but then I don't know what's mine. So I feel like it really takes a lot of like thinking, like really getting
Mm-hmm.
to know yourself, which really is the most important work. But
Mm-hmm.
I want to say though, like I've done that work, and what's so funny is that now building my new firm, oh my
Mm-hmm.
God, like when you have a comparison, especially right after what I've gone through, oh my God, everything's so much easier, so much happier, you
That's
know,
good.
yeah.
I'm
And
happy for you.
thank you. Yeah. So that's the challenge, the redirection, but it's all worth it.
That is so powerful because I think we do feel like we have to prove stuff. I remember me and a friend were laughing about a month ago. I said, how crazy was it for us to be like, I'll show you, and you ready to show somebody like you're boxing or whatever. You're ready to show somebody what you made of. And I remember my mom telling me that when I was faced with a challenge of a manager telling me, like, doubting that I could come to the table. And mom was like, you're going to show them what you're made of. And it was like, okay, I'm young. And now I look back on it like, I was stressing myself out. Oh my God, I wanted to leave every day.
Yeah.
But I showed them, and then it was like, now what? And at the end when the person retired, you did a good job. I'm like, yeah, because I didn't fall under your pressure. It's like, really? I passed your test, and it was crazy because I don't even think anybody else knew. You know what
Wow.
I'm saying? I don't think it was like a widespread thing where everybody was waiting to see what I was going to do or whatever. So I don't know. You're right. I think it's something that we need to recognize intuitively and then sit down with yourself and say, is this going in the direction that,
Hmm.
that you feel you're supposed to be going in? Does it make you happy? Are you content? You said you were miserable. Am I miserable? Why am I miserable? Those are real questions that you can't ask outside of that circle of people that love you because they're not going to give you the right answer. They're going to give you what they see.
Yeah.
So I love that you did that.
Oh my God, so important. Like I said, the most important work of all work. We can talk about strategies, like all that things that works in business, but then like I feel
Hmm.
like our life, yeah, the inner work, the self-reflection. I wish that I don't know if they teach that in school. I don't think so. I wish that they teach that
Mm-mm.
somewhere, you know.
I teach it because I'm walking it. I've
Hmm.
been walking it maybe the last 10 years.
Hmm.
I've come to a reflection. I think my rubber hit the road for me in 2016. And ever since then, I'm like, oh, do what? Okay, and I'm journaling and I'm telling the students in class, if you're not journaling, like they have these motivational whatever I'll put up every day. And if something hits me or something happened, I'm sharing that. But I'm
Yeah.
telling them stuff like, no, you need to gratitude journal. You need to sit down by yourself. You need to kind of talk to yourself and see, am I doing what I'm supposed to be doing? Am I, whatever. I tell them, well, this is accounting. It is, but you're not going to get this if this is all messed up. You got to get this together. And
Yeah.
so, yeah, it's not necessarily a class, but and then everybody's not necessarily listening at this point. So I just drop the seeds for whenever it manifests.
I feel like it's so important to drop the seeds though, because I feel like some of the questions, and I look back at my journal, right? Maybe back in when I was in the corporate days,
Hmm.
I was trying really hard. I know all the right words. I know what needs to be done, but
Hmm.
sometimes, but it doesn't really hit you until you've had lived enough life and experience.
Yep.
But so it's important, like if you drop the seeds and then the right moment, it'll hit them.
Hmm.
So I think, like I think it's important for them to start thinking about it, even though they might not have the answers right away.
Right. Right. That's why the conversations like this is why I wanted to do this, is because of the conversations I have with young people all the time. It's
Yeah.
like, well, I was in this space and this happened, or this person said that to me, or I just don't know, or whatever. And it's like they need our help,
Yeah.
and they need the help of people like you and I that they don't get to see every day. I'm only, for the most part, teaching at Dallas College. So if I'm only on Dallas College campus, everywhere else, they can't get the little nuggets that I'm giving them outside of the accounting stuff. And then people like you, they happen across your book or happen to link in with somebody that's linked in with you, but they still aren't having a conversation. So I'm like, these conversations help us to realize that it's beyond earning that degree, beyond knowing that skill. We're a whole person, and we have to look at everything from that lens.
Yeah. No, I love our conversation. I feel like it's more grounded, more real. Because I feel like I can't imagine being, a young person because there's so many podcasts out there. And
Yes.
just, all these things that it's just too glamorous. Like, how do you even get to that? I feel
Right.
like, life is beautiful, life is, amazing, but it's also really hard. But I often
Mm-hmm.
encourage people, like I feel like because so often we just want to get to the finish line already. I'm not gonna lie, when I was young, I just want a boring life for the rest of my life, just so I have
Right.
stability, right?
Right.
I just want stability, a good paycheck. Like I just do my work. Like I don't need anything fancy or exciting. That's, like I
Mm-hmm.
just want stability. But the thing is, I feel like once you've gone through so many things, kind of when like after 20 plus years, when I get to where I am right now, I feel like, I would encourage, like I hope people understand and not be afraid to live a full life. We're all
Yes.
here once. And really, what that means is just to embrace everything, to like experience the good and bad, maybe some heartbreaks. I know it sucks,
Yes.
you know,
Yeah. It does suck.
it sucks so bad. But then
Ah.
when you meet, people who actually love you, it doesn't matter like, friendship or like any kind of relationship, then you're like, oh my God, this is
Mm-hmm.
so amazing. Life is all about all sorts of
Mm-hmm.
things. So I think, to be able to just live life to its full extent, the full spectrum of life, really.
I love it.
Yeah.
So here, students, live your life the full spectrum. What helps you push through when it felt uncomfortable?
Um, I feel, I feel like most of the time, like I push through because like I have no other
Mm.
choice.
We don't.
Right, because like sometimes think about it, like I feel like it seems like, when you look at something, you feel like, well, uh, like you do have a choice, but then both options are just as hard because sure, if life is not going well, you can stay in the chaos because it feels familiar, you know,
Right.
and people
Right.
actually find comfort in that because, at least they know what they're getting into, like what it
Hmm.
looks like. Or if you choose to change, but either way is uncomfortable. So to me, like I said, pick your poison, you know.
Yeah.
So when I put it that way, I feel like, all right, so choosing to change doesn't feel that scary.
Yep.
Because when you actually think about, if you stay in stagnant or chaos, oh my God, again, I don't know why people use the word stay in comfort. It's not comfort.
It's not comfortable because
Yeah,
you wouldn't want to move if it was comfortable.
right. So, and the other thing is like I also what helped me get through, yeah, push through is going back to my roots, like
Mm-hmm.
knowing my Eastern upbringing, my values.
Mm-hmm.
That gave me a lot of anchor when everything around me was felt uncertain because there's a lot of wisdom, upbringing. Of course, it's very hard. Traditions taught us about patience, trusting the process,
Yes.
knowing that discomfort is not a sign that you're doing something wrong. It's actually you're doing something right.
Mm-hmm.
So usually it's like, oh no, I don't want any of that. No.
We want to avoid all that.
I know, just get me to the finish line already. I hated all of that. But yeah, but I think those are important to remember.
That I agree. I totally agree. How do you see women changing systems, not just succeeding within them?
Oh my God, I love this question so much. Because when I when I was building my firm, the first company, so I spoke to a lot of people, right? Just want to get some guidance and advice. And so many people would be like, well, just do already just do what's already out there because it's proven. Why would you reinvent the wheel, right?
Right,
So
right.
risky. And so I thought about it. I did it for a while, and I found it so boring and so uninspiring. So I couldn't do it. Yeah. So then this new firm that I just announced, back in January, like, so when it came up with the name, so it's called Rich and Sassy Wealth Strategies. And
Hmm.
I got so much feedback, and people were like, well, it's too feminine, it's too fun.
I
Like,
love it.
I know. And it's like, well, it doesn't sound professional enough for a financial firm. I just kept thinking, like, why? Who made that rule? Like, why does it have to be boring? Why
Right.
can't finance be fun? Right? Like,
Uh-huh.
so then, I feel like here's the truth. Like finance and accounting has always been presented as this like serious, intimidating, exclusive world, right?
Hmm.
So when some
With with gray on, with gray suits.
I know, my God. So like I feel like all of a sudden something feels very inaccessible. Like people
Hmm.
like don't engage with it.
Hmm.
So but I feel like so changing the system doesn't always mean, fighting it, but
Right.
it just means maybe be a little bit more like out of the box, creative, curious,
Hmm.
like build something that's like just something different, really unexpected. And people will be stop and say, oh, wait, what is that? Like rich and sassy. Oh, you can be that, right? And then
Yeah.
you not be that.
Look, yes, we could be rich and sassy. I love it. I see hot
Yeah.
pink and stilettos.
Right. And again, it's not so much just about like money or like female. Like I said, people gave me that
Mhm.
that feedback a lot, but I feel like, like when you think about like rich, it's just like the richness of life.
Yes.
And right, sassy,
Hmm.
it's like to be so bold, to live life on your own terms. I think
Hmm.
that's so cool, it's so fun.
I think it's cool. I do. I see your image of embracing life because you just said that a minute ago. Live your life full, live your full life, the full spectrum of life. And I can see that in Rich and Sassy because life is rich when you are embracing all of it. Like you're not just saying it's all about money or it's all about family. It's like it's all about all of it together. Your friends, your family, your laughter, you're going outside, you're touching a tree, hugging a tree, walking through the grass, sitting
Yeah.
with yourself, breathing the fresh air, embracing the sunshine. It's all of it. So I get it. I love it.
Yeah, I feel like especially like this creativity, like I said, like I sometimes do fight myself to maybe use a little bit more. Like I do have like a DBA, right? Like RSWS Pro.
Hmm.
But then I still try to, because when you think about these brand name, the same thing, right? Versace or Tiffany, right? Sure, it's
Right.
a little bit like to get people to get used to the brand. But like,
Hmm.
but look at all the finance firm, they're so boring. I feel like this creativity and curiosity needs to be in, especially in the most boring field. Otherwise, like, people think about accounting and finance, they fall asleep. But this is yet meanwhile, like, there's so much to it. You
I
know?
think I think they put us in a box and say that it's like what they do in taxes. They wait till the last minute, right? You know,
Yeah.
or they don't even want to organize their financials for taxes until it's time for taxes. It's like, no, let's get this rich and sassy all year long. So we can, when we get there, we could just go, hey, party, here's all my stuff. I'm good. Let's go, you know. But yeah, I get it.
No, so
That's how. Go
yeah, I
ahead.
feel like changing systems so important, you
It
know?
is.
Like otherwise I can't imagine the next couple of generations to just be like so boring and this field
Mm-hmm.
needs to change, you know?
Mm-hmm. I absolutely love it. Okay. What kind of legacy do you want to leave for women, for the
Mhm.
next generation of women?
Yeah. Like so my grandmother, which I was very close to, passed away during COVID.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, and my dad also left us a couple months ago.
Oh, I'm
Uh,
sorry.
yeah, so all of that just kind of, made me think a lot about like legacy. And, I
Mm-hmm.
remember like being in the space of like grieving and just packing at the belongings. And,
Mm,
when I was looking at their stuff, I just, feeling their experience, their whole life, where they come from, what they sacrifice, and how many hard decisions they had to make just so I
mm-hmm.
could have the life that I have today. So
Right.
yeah, so I've asked myself like so many questions, like kind of, okay, they've done so much for me in my generation, like so what am I carrying forward?
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like I don't, like when I was younger, I thought, oh, build a successful business or impressive career. But I, I think the most important is I want to leave proof that you can have it all, not just in the hustle culture way, but
Mm-hmm.
that you can be a whole person. You can have the job, the life that you love, like make a good living, have people that you love, that love you, that you love, you
Mm-hmm.
know. So, the Rich and Zanzi, our company promise is wealth without losing yourself. And that,
I love it.
yeah, and you can be successful and feel good
Mm-hmm.
living life. Like I said, you can be ambitious and also at peace. That
Mm-hmm.
honor where you come from while fully stepping into who you're becoming. So I feel like you know, that's a full life. And I really just want the next generation of women, like I want them to inherit a bigger picture of what's possible. Not just career, not just titles, not just number, but again, I said it so many times, for the whole person, all parts of you, the good and bad, the hurt, like the amazing things, like all of it. So I said, yeah, like I said, experience a full life, full spectrum of it, because the there's just really no point, right? Especially when I get older, or
Mm-hmm.
look at people who left the world, then you ask yourself, like, what's the point of building an empire when you're like empty inside, you know? So I want people to have both,
Mm. I love it.
as a legacy. Yep.
That's good. Yeah, because a lot of people I do feel are miserable
Mhm.
um within themselves
Mhm.
and do feel empty. So that's good advice to be mindful of where you are and what you're feeling and do that self-reflection so that we don't end up with all these degrees or titles or letters, as you said, behind your name and this business that's like, hoo-hoo, but then you're inside going, "Grr," you know. But yeah.
And that's
Love
so
it.
crazy. Like those degrees are so hard, right?
They
Like all
are.
these, right? Like those are not easy. Like you work
Mm-mm.
so hard, you want to actually feel good about it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I agree. Reward yourself. You said that earlier too.
Yes.
Thank you for that. What is one action women can take today to help shape tomorrow? One call to action, we'll call it.
Yeah. There are three questions that I've been asking myself since I was in high school. But
Okay.
obviously, they keep changing as I grow, and that's completely fine because, like I said, like as you continue to grow yourself, you see more things, live more life, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's important to start thinking about it. But I feel like it's also important to answer them for yourself because for the longest time I didn't realize that I was when I was doing it for myself, but I was answering them based on what people expect of me. So
Okay.
what, but not what was actually true for me.
Mm,
So I feel like, the first question would be like, what do I actually value? So not what your
mm,
parents value, not what society tells you to value, but what do you really actually care about and
mm,
why?
mm-hmm.
And I do think we have that answer deep
Right.
inside of us, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, and the second question would be like, okay, what am I willing to work hard at, even though if it's difficult,
Mm,
not what comes easy. Like what are you willing to show up for even on the hard days? And that's where your real strengths are. So to me, it's accounting, right? Like I said, I was terrible at math. But I knew, I wanted to open up my world to actually be able to tap into business, blah, 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 all that kind of stuff. So I was willing to work hard at it. Um, and so I think that the question would be, what would I do if I wasn't afraid of what people thought?
mm,
So important. I feel like as soon as you don't care and
mm-hmm.
don't give a bleep about what other people think, you feel so much more powerful. It really is. I felt that way. But it has to be true though, because a lot of people is like, oh, I don't care what people think. Well, they still do. But
Yeah.
the moment that you really just don't, and not,
Mm-hmm.
again, not to be like irresponsible and reckless, but
Right.
just, do whatever you wanted to do and take risks and stuff, still be responsible. So liberating, so powerful.
Liberating. I love it. Yes, liberate us, girl.
Yeah.
I,
I, yeah.
and you're gonna help liberate us in more than one way with being rich and sassy too, as some of us may end up being your clients.
Yeah, that would be so cool.
So before we go, let everybody know how they can connect with you. Are you on LinkedIn?
I'm on LinkedIn, and that's the only social media that I am currently on. Act
That's cool. Mm,
Yeah. And so find me on LinkedIn, or my company website, richandsassy.com.
okay.
Yeah, but I'm active on LinkedIn. That'll be a great place to connect.
That's cool. Yes, I always tell them to connect with me and then they can connect with who I'm connected with, right?
I love LinkedIn. I think,
Hmm.
yeah, so many professionals. No,
I love it.
yep.
Well, Miss Cece, I thank you for sharing your story with me today and with us. Conversations like this help someone to realize that there is a place for them and that they too can, get past some things and evolve and become their whole self. So thank you for your time.
Thank you so much for this conversation. I really enjoyed it.
Thank you. Me too.
Thank you.